Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a track by an act named Mark Holroyd and the Carmesi titled Peace with Your Gods. And if we switch over to here, we have the video for the lyric video, which as I understand it was done by Mark Holroyd himself, so that's cool. We're going to listen through this track from start to finish. Actually, do we have some information there? Excited for the release of our new single out 18th February 2022. Here's the official lyric video for Peace with Your Gods on Spotify. Pre-saved links, we got all the different social medias, including an Instagram and Spotify there. Cool. Let's go. Let's make it big. Sweet. Oh, freaky, man. Damn, man, Mark. Peace. Peace with your gods. I'm quite digging the sound of these guitars, these harmonies, and these drums as well. The looseness of the hi-hat and the amount of dynamic range we've got is fantastic. It's got an old rock, hard punk kind of core kind of sound from them to that late 2000s that I really dig, man. It's dope. It's sick as, you know, it's nice and solid. I'm still searching for a little bit of that low end. Oh, the low end's just really well handled. That's okay. Well panned guitars, they right in those extremely. Oh. Cool, I'm liking those vocal harmonies and how we staggered and layered them over time. Cool story so far as well. I'm coming for you, my dear. We've got an instrumental break here. Nice to have that balls to space it out like that, you know? Because sometimes people are a little bit phobic of letting the instruments just be by themselves without hand-holding someone, you know, tugging them by the neck. But that ain't the case. That ain't the case with what we've got here. Now you can run, but there's nowhere you can hide. I'm liking that we're not rushing to deliver these vocals either. You know, it's rhythmically syncing really well with the rest of the sort of guitar lines and the drums and everything like that. I mean, we have the occasional 16th note fill, but you've got that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 8th note groove holding strong throughout. Damn, what a badass, say, 1001. That limiter's working overtime, man, but there's no pumping. The mastering's done pretty well. The hi-hats, dude. Can you hear how fast those hi-hats are? We've even got some two-handed stuff going on there. I mean, those could be rolls, but I'm thinking they're two-handed. That's some incredible percussion. That finesse going in that technique. Enjoying the chaos rather than suffering and being destroyed by it. Thomasville's bringing in this. Consistently with those open chords on the power chords on the guitar, right? And having that held note there to go into the hook, I suppose, is a smart move, you know? Have the da 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 boom. You know, that melodic and rhythmic phrasing there for 3 times before the drop relative to that. Have a bit of tension with those held notes and then let it slip. Let it fall now. Let it fall? Oh, this is different, isn't it? Oh, so wait, is this song about him, like, killing someone and making peace with your gods and trying to atone for that sin? Is that right? Like, looking at the sky with that last breath and turning around wondering what they'd done. Cool. I'm really glad we had that break with the rhythm there. We had that extended fill. Like, I think it was a 2-bar fill, wasn't it? It was nice to have that point of difference here. It's like shocking how quickly that went. That was one of those singles that kind of takes you by the throat and does kind of pull you along, you know. It's not super desperate for your attention, but it's engaging and catchy enough that you kind of fall along with it and you're like, yeah, I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of this. You know, Mark Holroyd and the Carmesi, clearly, you know, really skilled musicians. I love the performance that they put on today. The display there was great. It was really solid musicianship going on here. I've got no real complaints with the performances. You basically, again, you had those bass, guitar, drum, vocal elements here, that rock punk vibe from it that's still prevalent today, and I like this kind of music. I really do. I think that while I recognize some of the vocal techs put in, and as well as some of the stylings of like the rhythm and the harmonies and the power chords and all that kind of stuff, and some of the drum fills and stuff like that, I still think that they've got something sort of reasonably, you know, rather unique going on here, and I really hope that they can continue to go forward with that. It'd be nice to, because I know this is effectively the conclusion. The vocals, again, I think were done really well. There was an effects channel on the vocal. I'm not saying like auto-tune or anything like that, but there was like a bit of reverb and maybe some delay going on there, very subtle, sort of slight back delay. The compression on the vocals was done really nicely. The vocals stood out really well in the mix, and the harmonies and the single parts were handled and measured really, really well. The story that was told was actually a complex one. I think I need more than one listen to really get the hang of what the story was about. I got bits and pieces as we were going along. It is one of those songs where you have to be engaged from start till finish and give it your full attention. You really can't half-ass listening to a track like this. You know, when Mark Holroyd and the Carmesi put this much effort into it, you need to be taking it seriously. And I think that that balance there is important, but also just beautiful, really. I really I love how much they cared about it. They care about this music that they're making, because they're going to be putting out more soon, as I understand it, which is exciting, you know. The emotional delivery, in regards to the emotional delivery, the impact of the vocals and the story and everything like that. We'll get to the rest of the elements as well as we go. I think that it made sense with the story that was being told. There was a sense of desperation and questioning and mild frustration with it. There was not necessarily uncertainty. It's like, it kind of sounded like the singer already had come to terms with what had occurred, as if it was a retrospective kind of thing, describing the story and kind of looking back on it and like, yeah, I get it. You know, it wasn't a great time, but here we are, you know, peace with your gods and the interactions they have with other people. You know, I think for the most part, it was really well done. I think the only thing I'd say, just to be really picky and pedantic, was because of the way it was produced, mixed and mastered, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing, this is something that's very common with music nowadays. That just appeared, and maybe this isn't actually what it was, and I'm just sort of tripping, but there seemed to be sort of one gear or one intensity to like the perceived loudness of it. We did have some tom fills, but I think that the loudness of the mix was almost like the song was as loud from start till finish. I talked about dynamic range. I know there are some parts that were deliberately played quieter than others, but it would have been good to just have some parts where maybe it got a little bit quieter. They pulled out the instruments. They just had a pause or something like that, you know? It was almost like we went straight into that verse, into the bridge, into the chorus, etc. You know, there was no stop in it. Maybe that was to mirror the intensity of the situation that the protagonist was going through. That what have you done? That chaotic sort of road trip through hell and hell on earth, you know? In which case that would make a lot of sense, and then I really have no issues with it whatsoever. That symbolism is fantastic. Yeah, the guitar bass, the drummer showed great technique. All the fills came through nicely. The tempo was solid. It didn't sound like it was being matched or anything like that. They could just play the instrument really, really, really well. The bassist, yeah, the bass was subtle. I didn't really hear the bass much, but I think that's maybe testament to just wanting to keep it safe with that side of things. Sometimes, you know, if you have too much bass in there, it can overtake things and cause issues with the, issues with the mastering side of things and stuff, even if you're trying to sidechain it. And the guitar riffs, you know, there was some lovely harmonies there with the octave chords and the power chords. There wasn't a whole lot of lead work. There wasn't really another main melody voice aside from the vocals, but that's fine. You don't really need to make it too complicated, especially with an opening single like this. Keep it simple. As a song, it was catchy, and the story was interesting. What parts I got of it, I'd like to listen to it again. It has replay value. I think there's nuances you'll pick up each time you listen to it, so that's obviously a plus. And again, aside from what I talked about with the perceived loudness, kind of the energy levels kind of being the same the whole way through. And that's very much a subjective thing. There might be people listening, it's just like, no, it was definitely a little more laid back with those tom bits in the bridge or something like that. You know what I mean? Or people will say again, oh no, it needed to be like that. Yeah. Aside from that, I have no real issues with the production side of things. I think that the EQing, the panning of the instruments, especially the guitar was incredibly well done. Nice and fresh sounding, had a sizzle to it, which was welcome in the mix, sat really well with the drums. And the vocals were like the focal point, the star of the show, and they handled that front stage really well. You know, the sound stage was fantastic. And these headphones are the kind of headphones where they'll be absolutely brutal with you if you don't know what the hell you're doing in that regard, and nope, they smashed it. Yeah, nice and loud, without it being a crippling sort of thing. You know, there wasn't any pumping or anything on the master chain. Yeah, that's effectively my review though of Mark Holroyd and the Carmesi with Peace With Your Gods. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did like this track, please do go show Mark Holroyd and the Carmesi some love via their various social medias and YouTube pages. Stay cool and stay safe, and please also remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as either hell more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. Catch you in the next review. Spider hands out.